Show me a hill I can climb. Give me a mountain to move, and I'll prove that it's a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror, and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet, that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet, that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day.
Very special day we do have. It is a terrific Thursday, and we are right on to we're at the 22nd day of July. That's crazy. I do have my co-host this morning. He's wearing two hats. Our mayor, Justin Green, and my co-host this morning. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Good morning.
And happy Thursday, right?
Yes, it's pre-Friday.
Yeah. It's the appetizer before the real Friday, right? Yeah. So are you a fan of Thursdays, or do you feel like, what do you think? What's Thursdays to you, Mayor?
Thursday's not Monday.
There we go.
And it's enough distance away. No, Thursdays are good.
Yeah.
You can start making plans for your weekend. You know there's something good coming.
Something brewing.
And then you can start planning your next week.
There you go. That's good. That's very good. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. And I think, like you said, it's not a Monday, and it's then Wednesdays I think we get excited because we're getting humped over the week, but then Thursdays is kind of like down, and then getting ready for the weekend.
Yeah.
So not a bad day. All right. I do want to say thank you to our sponsors: Walmart, Meadowview Healthcare Center, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Kentucky, and Cat and Core, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Dr. Black's Eye Associates. Want to give a little bit of the weather. The way I understand the overcast that we're experiencing right now, in our community, is actually from the fires that they're having. We're getting a little bit of that, and it's bringing the overcast to us. But it looks like this will go away, and we'll be into our sunny day. So
right.
I think we're like on a 10-day stretch of no rain.
Yes. Yeah, and that's nice. We need a little break.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, I know. I was actually, just completely, when we were having all that rain, I was like, why even bother doing our hair, right? I know.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, well, I do. You know what I mean? But several times, it's funny because, like, I curl my hair and step out, and then it just pours, And I'm one of those, I lose my umbrellas. I leave my umbrellas. I don't have an umbrella at the time and stuff. It just never works out. But anyway, so we got a little bit of a sunshine, and we're going to get into that in just a second. But Mayor, let's talk about the Walmart grand opening. How you were there, and how wonderful that was, and how, as a mayor, how proud are you when when a business is completely renovated and done all this new stuff, and then time to celebrate.
You bet. And yes, I got the invitation to come and attend, and happily responded, and you're right, we all went. Was that last Friday?
Yeah, isn't that crazy to think? Yeah, I know.
It was a few days ago, but last Friday, and we did. That store has been a really a true asset to our community. And Mike King, Brad Gilbert, and the entire staff, I can't name them all, I'd forget somebody, but they've just done such an amazing job. And to be part of that is very special. We should be very proud that they are here. And it's not to take away from anybody else, but they feel a void, they feel a need. And Becky, one thing I'd mentioned that morning, they're one of our largest employers.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's another huge benefit to this community, and we need to think about that. So no, it was great. The store looks very nice. They did a nice repaint, refresh,
Yeah.
remodel.
Yeah.
And hard to believe it's been 5 years.
I know, isn't it crazy?
Since the original.
Yeah.
And so the re-grand opening was very special. Had a lot of Walmart dignitaries there, and they were just very proud of their store, and rightfully so.
Right. Well, I went back on my timeline, and I think it was like 6 years ago was when, and you were on the city council whenever the first dirt got dug, and they showed, where it was going to be. Remember, they showed the area and did the digging, and it was crazy. I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't get my head wrapped around it. I mean, was it like hard to imagine?
We had a lot of schematics, a lot of detailed diagrams, and you're right. You see, okay, it's this many square foot, and the angle sits here, and there's a driveway, but that's on paper. When you're out there standing in a field looking, it really was hard to conceptualize. Okay, this all does come together, and where does it sit? And after months and months of digging and excavating and leveling, then it starts. You slowly get that image. But you're right. Day one was just how does this fit out here?
Yeah, I know, because all we had seen anyone in this community, that had been farmland. We'd seen
Right.
cattle. We'd seen, you hear mooing. I mean, and never, it was hard for me to imagine that there was going to be something this big and this, I guess, amazing going to be there.
Yeah, and the parking to accommodate it.
Yeah.
And all the access points and the road frontage lots, and fast forward 6 years later, you know it, and now it's it's just part of our community.
Right. I was like, and I've been like a Mrs. Crabtree member on Bewitched, member that would look out the window or whatever, the nosy neighbor, because like they had like a helicopter bring like I don't know if it was the like generators or the refrigeration, and it was watching that helicopter go over with this hanging, and then to make sure that they get it in the right spot. You know what I mean? It was it was crazy how professional and how they knew what they were doing. It's just
it's like a small army of ants.
Yeah.
They all converged, and a huge amount of workers, and each to their own task. And you're right, it was quite an ordeal to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and also going back, and Brad was on Wednesday, and we talked about this. How awesome is it for Walmart to realize and invest back in our community? That says a lot about them.
Certainly does. They could put the store up and ask the managers to make their projections and just leave it alone. But it's just the opposite. They've been very proud of this store, obviously, and this store has been awarded several awards. They met their goals that many stores didn't, and I can't recall the name. I know the Helen Walton Award was one of them.
You're right.
Certainly.
Yeah. Well, they've got so many.
They've got so many, But you're right. So the corporate structure said, this needs some reward, and they certainly did.
Right, absolutely. So hats off to them, and definitely a day to celebrate for sure. All right, let's see what today is. Today is Hammock Day. Mayor, do you own a hammock?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I've witnessed a few people try to accommodate the sittings and load up, but I didn't think I could do that.
Well, I have one, but I must say that I have not been in it this year. So that's bad, right? Bad and sad, right?
Well, it depends. Are you one that can sit in it gracefully?
Well, yeah, mine is actually, I've got one of the ones that like, it almost like covers you up so no one knows you're in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really a nice, I know, I do know the graceful ones when you
do the somersault roll.
Yes, or when someone comes up and tips you over,
well,
that happens too, right?
Yeah.
Too much of a good thing. So today is Hammock Day. This is also the Lion's Share Day. So if you're eating and you take the larger portion, that's what they call the Lion's Share. So it doesn't mean share, like.
No. Now I'd like to go back one. So if we've got a hammock day,
okay,
do we have a recliner day?
Ooh, I love that. There better be, right?
Now
They
that,
need
now
to-
that
oh, there we
I can
go.
talk about.
You can't beat a good designer, and it just, and when you pull that lever, or push that lever and it goes back, it's like,
Game
that's-
over.
yeah. We'll be here for a while. You
Yeah.
best, yeah. This is also Mango Day. Do you like mangoes?
Probably
Me too.
in small doses.
I do too.
Yeah.
National Rat Catchers Day. I guess years ago, think about like the Pied Piper. You remember that?
Yeah.
And the rat catchers. So I guess like as a mayor, let's go back years ago whenever there was, maybe that would be more around like when you had like your boats and your ships and stuff. But I'm sure as mayor, years ago, many, many years ago, one of their duties was to get the rats out, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure this must have been, thank goodness we've got them under control, right?
I hope. Well, I hope.
Yeah. I'm not a rat fan.
No.
All right. This is National Refreshment Day. If I was going to get us some refreshments, Mayor, what would I get us, Dustin?
Now stop and think. My go-to is cookies.
I know. I was going to say I'd stop and get you some cookies. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So many good. Well, actually, yesterday was junk food day, so that
Oh well, that
you can
tied
make
in.
a double day here, right?
Yeah.
Very refreshment. Very refreshment. Summer Leisure Day.
I'm up for that.
Okay, so let's say that you had a day off, okay, and the city was running fine on its own, everything was good, and you were going to take a leisure day. What would you do? It's
Well,
hard to think. Isn't it?
it is hard to think. I've not had one for a while. Just as silly as this sounds and non-exciting, just a drive through the country.
Oh,
Just turn the radio off, turn the phone off.
Yeah.
Just a nice quiet drive.
Well, I think we are so blessed in this community that we love just driving around or country cruising or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. I think you're totally right, and seeing how beautiful everything is
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, and I figured you'd be leisuring in your recliner.
Well,
That would come later, right?
can't spend all day driving.
That's right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I probably would. I like the cruising too. I do like that. Yeah, it's good time to think too. Good therapy.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
therapy for sure. Well, we're so glad you're on here. So get out and enjoy for sure today. We're getting at the end of the month, the July, and before long, we'll be entering into August and then September and school starting and exciting time for everyone and a big time for our community. And let's talk about some of the things going on and let's talk about some of the different. You had reported it's been a while when you've been on here since then, but you were going to be doing some improvements on some streets here in our community, and let's give some reports on that.
Okay, certainly. The most visual today
Yeah.
is the section of Shelby Street behind the high school and the hospital, and that area of Shelby on North Shelby. That's another community crossing project that Salem was awarded, and those projects have been so beneficial to Salem and Washington County alike. Our county has been awarded those as well. But this particular award is the same type of structure West Market Street was. So it does involve some utility relocates, so repairing and updating those water lines. And in that particular section there on Shelby, we're upsizing that pipe. That also does address some drainage issues as we go. And then the bulk of it, which is the road work. So that road then goes down to a reconstruct type project. So it's not just milled, it's removed and a complete new road. And then with curb and gutter and then the appropriate sidewalk. So it's the whole gamut. And those projects are awarded to us through NDOT. And we've been very successful in keeping our applications correct and up to date. And we've been on track with these awards. And this is just another great project. Most of us through Salem use that portion of Shelby Street for a variety of things. The school is probably maybe the largest use of Shelby Street, but the hospital is probably right there with it. And then you go a little further out and you've got the YMCA complex and the Washington County Salem Senior Center. So there's a lot of activity on that road.
Absolutely.
And so this is a well-deserved section that needs updated. And, with all this work, there becomes a safety element. So, it's better markings, better visibility, more accessible for our pedestrians. So it just is a real good project. And we are certainly going to pursue other community crossing projects. So this is not a final by no means, just a continuation. So West Market, and then we did the northern section of Shelby up into the cemetery, and then so now this one. So yeah, we've got several examples of how well that's worked.
Awesome. So let's go back so actually it's important. Let me kind of I'm just kind of going over. It's important, like when you go to do some fixing up maybe streets or roads or that you get the drainage really good and the pipes really good. So it's almost like, okay, I'm gonna compare it to what I would say is like, okay, let's say you go to clean your house and you pull out all your couches, you pull out all your chairs, right?
Right.
You have to do all that, and like if somebody was to walk in at that point, you're like, no.
Yeah.
But you have to clean behind, and you have to do all this. So this maintenance and doing all this is actually stuff that is really good that will help our drainage and our waterways, right?
All together, you're right.
Okay, so this is kind of a tear up that you had to do to get all that straightened up, and then you'll put it back in place and even better.
That's right, and that's certainly the main goal of the community crossing program.
Right.
Don't just half fix it or band-aid it or go so many feet. Do it all.
Right.
And that is a great benefit because, and your listeners know, everything costs more than it did 5-10 years ago, and so to do these projects in its entirety is just huge money, and we couldn't do them this quick. We couldn't do them this complete without these awards, without really putting a hurt on the street department's budget. So you're right. We want to do it per the specs, and this is a great way to do it. And you want that drainage fixed. Water under a roadway or in a residence yard, or there's just so many problems that come with water that's not diverted correctly. And it can eat away in a road, or it can cause the freezing and thawing to make it worse in certain sections, and then you've got roads that crumble sooner than they should, and just a lot of things. So that is key. You're right. That's key. Let's get down. Let's get it all to the dirt where we can see and make it appropriate to what it should be. So this allows us to do that.
I've heard the commissioners on here all the time talking about how important that is. You just can't go and fix. You just can't put the top on. You've got to make sure that the drainage and underneath or your road, it's taking good care of your roads.
Yeah, road maintenance. It certainly is. Yeah.
Okay, maybe let's go back. I just realized maybe some people do not know about the community crossing, and explain a little bit about that. Maybe go in a little more detail about that. And
certainly, and I can't tell you, Becky, it's been a number of years now, but Indiana offered this program through INDOT, the Indiana Department of Transportation, to communities just for that, a road rehab style of program and opportunity. And you have to qualify. There's several things you have to have in place before you can start applying. And a lot of it is some engineering. A lot of it is your basic paperwork to INDOT, and you've got to identify certain areas. You've got to identify your road inventory, and just a lot of back work preparation to get there. But once you have all that in place, yes, this program was rolled out as an incentive because again, INDOT recognized and knows the cost of road maintenance. They're obviously the body who oversees our state highways, and
right.
they know firsthand. They know how problematic roads can be, and these grant opportunities through community crossing kind of help bridge that gap. Here's a way to do that. The state found the money to fund that through federal highway dollars, and so they're just opportune examples of a community taking advantage of it. And as you said, Washington County and the commissioners and the county council, they've done the same thing. And so, collectively between the two of us, we've been awarded several dollars, and sometimes near $1 million each grant. So, collectively, I don't have a total, but for Salem itself, we're probably close to $3.5, $4 million by now.
Oh, wow.
And that's real
awesome.
dollars.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, is this something so it doesn't affect any of the taxpayers?
We only have a local match
Okay.
of 20%, and that comes out of our either our road paving budget
Okay.
or our edit dollar budget. So we are participants. Let's put it that way. So
Okay.
yes, we do a
Put a
very
little
small.
skin in the game.
Put a little skin in the game. Thank you. That's a good way of saying it. And appropriately, we should.
Absolutely.
But you talk about the 80% that we would.
Yeah, that's
never-
anytime. Yeah, that's a blessing.
That's
for
a
sure.
huge blessing. Yeah.
So is this project, how long will this, because everybody is wanting to know, like,
You bet.
yeah, what's the guesstimated?
Guesstimating, they have started, and that's always starting. It seems to be the slow part.
Yeah.
So, because you got to do some right of way paperwork to make sure our utilities are where they need to be, and then you start digging and laying pipe. But yes, so the work has started. It will not it will not be done by school start, but we will definitely work with the school, certainly the workers, and help that school traffic. Becky, I don't know an exact date. To your point, it probably will be somewhere September into October. Once they get the nuts and bolts in the ground, it does go much faster. It really does.
One thing, a unique project. I mean, anybody that's done projects, you kind of, it's hard to give that time frame of when you're going to be done, because you don't really know what you're getting into. And I'm sure that this has been, these pipes and stuff have been in the ground for a while.
Oh. And to that point, there's a mystery. Even our records and our maps and our data. You start digging, you always find something you didn't know was there. And I laugh every time. And when the guy said, "Well, here's a new one," and they tell me what they found, and it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then you got to chase that down. Where does this go? Who does it feed? And why is it here?
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. There's always some things that give you a delay.
If you've ever watched the home makeover shows, or if you've ever done anything yourself, you always know that, like, a little simple project ends up being sometimes a lot more.
Sometimes a lot more.
Yeah.
And you're right, they are aged, and a lot of this you have to be careful with when you're working beside an old line and laying a new line.
Sure.
They become very brittle when they're exposed, and so there's a lot of safety and concern and care taken with laying this new pipe. So you're right, sometimes it takes a little longer.
Right. So that's awesome. Yay.
Yeah.
And so that's yay. And so that'll be, when you're doing something like that, or a project, it's always like a little bit, maybe, you might have to take a little bit of a different street, or maybe wait just a little bit, but always trust the process and know that it's going to be a great thing when it gets done.
Yes. And we're very fortunate that area of the city does have alternate routes.
Yeah.
And so we do have other ways in and around.
Right.
Sure, there's some homes there right on Shelby that those folks have to drive right through it. They don't have too many options, and they've been very patient, and we certainly appreciate them. And of course, they're excited about it too.
I was going to say, they probably are happy about this.
Yeah. So, but you're right, we've got alternate routes, and that does help. Certainly, we can get the traffic in and out.
Right, for sure. Let's go back then. Okay, so and then maybe do you have any other areas later on, or you got anything else in mind, or is that something to be?
We've got two more already identified. Two. So as long as the state keeps offering the enrollment, we've got them in the hopper.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're at task. We know we got to be ready for them when they announce it. So one of them is being engineered now. Another one, we just signed the paperwork to have engineered. So, we're got our sleeves rolled up, and we're working on them. So
I love that.
We're ready.
Yeah. Well, and that's good, And have we announced it yet, or are you just waiting?
No, because those, and pardon me, I going to
Okay.
shoot from the hip. I think the next application is due July 31st. That's one of those you wait about
Okay.
30 days.
Okay, so we don't know yet.
We don't know.
Yeah, to hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait.
Those are hard. I know.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's exciting. So, well, maybe next time you come on or another time,
you
we'll
may be able to know.
we'll have some
Yeah.
information on that. Well, that's good. Well, and you got to take one project at a time, right?
Well, you think how many things can we stomach at once? And you're right, it's
Yeah.
hard to do multiple. But in this example, yes, these are definitely one at a time.
Right. And things are, we're a little bit more opened up now. How do you feel about that? And of course, we had the fair, we've had the Peak and Forth. I mean, and we've got some other things, festivals going on in, in surrounding areas. How are you feeling as a mayor on that?
Well, I shared with you before. You allowed me to give some comment, and I want to stick by a statement I made before. Our community did very well. Everybody agreed it was a burden and uncomfortable to wear a mask and not very neighborly, not very friendly. You didn't know in the store who you was passing, and we all know that. We certainly we kind of want to put that behind us but be smart about it at the same time. But coming out of it, you're right. Salem and Washington County, like the rest of the country, was very hungry for that human interaction and how do we get back. And I think when you look, drive up and down the street, you go to the stores and you go to these festivals, it's back to full throttle in the interest and in the activity. And so not only from a vendor standpoint to a participant standpoint, the Peak and Fair Parade was well attended.
Wasn't that wonderful?
Well attended.
Yeah.
Of course, the weather was great that day too, and so that always helps and makes people come. But the fair, same way. There was no shortage of folks at the fair.
Yeah.
And the school events have been well attended. So
Absolutely.
you look at this, you take two steps back and look, and I think everybody has rebounded very well. And and there's still some safety. We got to not let our guard down, and you still get the reports and the indication that it's not gone.
Right.
We still live in a world where it's affecting folks. But hey, right here we're holding our own and doing well.
Yeah. And as far as City Hall, you were able to keep it going and keep it business going and didn't shut down, and you had that wonderful drive-through that worked out
very well.
Yeah.
The city employees are real troopers. Myself and the council, we're very concerned. If we have a rash of folks within our employment who had COVID, how would we function? And we stayed healthy for the most part. We'd had our own cases, certainly here and there, but it was not a citywide problem with our employees. So thank goodness that panned out. But you're right, we was able to conduct business safely. The building functioned. We made appointments, did a lot of, obviously, computer meetings and on the phone, not so much in person. And then you look back at those events and you think, well, we probably got more done because we weren't spending 15, 20 minutes in the car or longer. And so the new norm become, we'll have an email and invite people and you get on your computer and let's have a Zoom meeting. Those things probably here to stay for some of them. But
I think you're right. Yeah, I think we've learned that they work.
Learned to adapt. But no, City Hall kept going, and that's the technology. 20 years ago, we'd been really scratching our head. But no, it worked. So, but yeah, everything is going real well after that, and so business as usual.
Yeah. And then let's talk about Riley's Park, the Salem Football Lions. How proud are you of them? I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Big thank you,
Blair Thompson,
Coach Thompson, and his
Jennifer
players,
Thompson,
and of course Jennifer for supporting the project as always. That's something that needs annual mulch and cleanup and freshening up. And of course, there again, last year couldn't do it.
Right.
And you think about that, and we'll think about that from years to come. How many things didn't get done in calendar year 2020?
Right.
Here's another example.
Mhm.
Fast forward, yes. So this past Monday, yes, the football players, Coach Thompson, they came over. They put in the sweat equity. They got the mulch spread and laid and covered. And great job. Yeah.
They did, and and what I was amazed at, there wasn't any grumbling. There wasn't any like with your children, like doing chores
Do
or
we
doing
have
that.
to
Yeah.
do
Oh,
this?
if mine, if I, mine do landscaping,
Yeah.
or lay the mulch,
Right. Right. No.
That's, at my house. But I
Or
was,
wander off.
yeah.
Wait a minute, we're missing somebody.
or I got to go take a break, and then for an hour or two they'll be,
Yeah.
mad. But anyway, I was amazed, and they had their hearts were wonderful, and there was even they were singing, they were there was not any, they were happy to do this, and I love that, a joyful spirit,
Yeah.
that, and giving back to the community,
Yeah.
teaching these young men, right,
Yeah.
and that's just a
Yeah, great job, and it's a nice little project. Gets the guys some togetherness time. That they're not just strictly on the field. That's one of those things coaches will always tell you. It's about a team effort, and there's another example. They did it together, and but yeah, certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, and I wish and you don't know, after school, will they ever, where their careers will go, in
Yeah.
any activity that you participate in, but you're teaching life lessons, and you're raising, teaching them to be parts of the community, which we know is so involved, just like anybody, like you stepping out as mayor when you run, for city council, or you run for mayor. I mean, you're already stepping out and becoming a servant to the community.
Well, thank you, and yes, and that shows the guys. There are opportunities to do more, and we encourage that. Gosh, I both know that it takes a lot of volunteers in this community.
Absolutely.
And those volunteers are very important.
So hats off to them. I just thought that
Yeah.
was really good, really good. And so let's go on now. Let's talk about some of the water. We've had a little bit of water trouble, and got it all fixed up. And so I'll just let you kind of take the wheel on that.
Well, sure, and thank you. Gosh, Becky, time gets away again. Back in 2019, I had made a couple statements, very general statements, but that Salem and the community would have some growing pains from time to time. Well, we had a growing pain about 10 days ago, and certainly wasn't planned, wasn't something we could look back and say, gosh, where did this come from? But nonetheless, yes, we had a boil water advisory as a precautionary. Certainly was wanting to err on the side of caution, and that's truly what myself and the administration wants. We want to be very cautious. We don't want to second guess anything. So it was appropriate. And sadly, Becky, when things happen, it's Murphy's Law. It was the weekend, Saturday, and so when you take the weekend into account for a lot of things, and this example being one, when you have to do some follow-up lab testing, you can't get your results until the next business day, and so you're thinking, well, so a few hours now turns into 2 days, and so you beat your head against the wall just because of timing. Nevertheless, we did have an injection issue that come up at the water plant with a chlorine feed. Tracked it down. It just was time consuming. We never lost disinfectant. That was good, and but nevertheless, it had to be fixed. So again, I wish it. If we were going to have one, I wish it had hit on a Tuesday, and we could have had it fixed Wednesday. And
Yeah.
But again, those are things that come about, and knock on wood, we hadn't had one in many years. Let's say we won't have another one for many years.
Right.
But out of that comes some things, and certainly with your help, we tried to notify everybody. I know we lose a few in the cracks, and that's never our intent. But your radio station is a big help. We are going to implement something new, just in case, because again, we don't have a crystal ball, but we are going to go to an automated notification system in addition to notifying the radio. So,
Okay, awesome.
so that's something we're going to have in a very near future, and that will certainly help those folks who maybe work an odd shift or maybe are out of town. This way they'll have the notification direct.
Absolutely.
So some redundancy in that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyways, there's always an opportunity to learn and do things better. And certainly, our employees, our troopers, they were whipped puppies. I can tell you, they were just beat, and they are slowly recuperating. But they had a lot of hours in that weekend and following days. But things are back to where they need to be. Certainly. Again, growing pains, it's one of those things that happened, and that's fixed, and we should not have that problem again.
Awesome. Well, I think a couple things to just kind of reminder. I think it's important to remind people because everybody, it's not their beat, it's not what they do. You know what I mean? It's not, I do not work for the water
Right.
company, nor that's not my, thing. I guess what I really want to make sure that people understand that when you take a sample, you have to send it off. And that's where I think a lot of people don't realize that time frame. You're on there, if it's a holiday
Yeah.
or if it's a weekend, you're not going to get those results back within a 24-hour period necessarily. And
You bet. Yeah. Let me clarify. You're right. So in a standard issue procedure, if you will, you sample, you test, you sample, you test. There's a series of protocols, and we are under those guidance, and like any water utility. And so to test your water post fix, after your fix is complete, you take one sample, and it's a 24-hour wait from that. Well, if your lab certifies your sample isn't
available,
open, they don't have a drive-through. So yes, therein lies the wait. So you're right, that testing and then that 24-hour, your second sample to verify the first sample can be timely, and that's why you see typically not us, but just anywhere on the radio and the TV and the news, if a community or a water utility orders an advisory boil water, flight takes a few days. The fix usually is readily done in a short amount of time. It's the sampling.
Right. Well, I think it's good for any other community that's listening too. Anybody that, no matter what community you're in, and you hear other communities have it too. Everybody has boil water advisories. This is part of being a part of a community and having water, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's good for everybody to realize that everybody, any surrounding communities too, have that where you take the samples and you're at the mercy of the people that are reading the samples of when you're going to get it back.
Yeah.
And I think those are important things to remember, that you can only do what you can do in that, And so also I think it's important to make sure that we understand that we are very blessed to have the water that we do have, right? And have the facility that we have.
Absolutely.
Will you talk a little bit about that?
You don't want to point at your neighbors and say, well, glad we're not them. But, we can a little bit, and with all due respect, there's a lot of areas that have major struggles, and they don't know what they're going to do, and they don't have a fix, nor do they have the finances lined up to fix them. And, way back 4 or 5 years ago, with the help of Mayor Mary, we were facing, some decision making, and often not, we would say, well, let's not be a Flint, Michigan. Let's not get into such a pickle where a huge issue would come and we would just be dumbfounded. We wouldn't know what to do. And in a lesser comparison, our neighbors at Charlestown, um, the current mayor and former mayor have been very good stewards of that community, and but when they faced a real issue a few years ago, they were really hurt and not knowing how to fix that, and ultimately they've got a resolve that seems to be working, but their problem was far worse than ours, and an extended problem. You know, they had months and months of water issues, if not longer, and thank goodness they've got on the right track and they're getting there.
Sure.
But to your point, and it's a problem across the country, and politics aside, that's why you're seeing a lot of discussion on infrastructure and what it means to upgrade and what it means to look what's underground, and that's the problem. You know, we're all humans. You know, you build something, you cover it up, and you don't see it. You
Right.
know, it's not. You know, we drive across them, we mow across them, it crisscrosses underneath, and you don't know where those pipes go, but you just don't think about them, and it's not top of mind. And so, as the roads and the bridges and the water and the wastewater, everything in this country is aged, and you know, I certainly say we're on a good side of some of ours, but you know, we've made strides. And to your point about making updates in our community, you know, it's not just the water plant. You know, I'd shared with you and your listeners, you know, we did the water meter program, and but it doesn't stop there. And you know, once we get everything buttoned up at John Hay, we're going to have to then change gears, because then it becomes a focus on distribution. You know, not only these water lines with the community crossing are new, but we've got other water lines. We certainly have other mains, and you know, that's going to be the next focus. Is okay, are we going to do 5 miles every year? Are we going to do 2 blocks a year? You know, we've got to start focusing on our distribution lines. So it doesn't end, and I think that's important for everybody to understand that. You know, once you do one project, that doesn't solve it all. Maybe a big piece, and certainly is important, but there's more to do. And I can't thank the council enough. You know, we've got a great council that understands. Board of Works understands, and I think our residents want this. You know, I hear more often than not, you know, this is great. Let's do it. We want modern. We want updated. We want efficient utilities.
Sure.
So that's what we're doing. And but to your point and question, yeah, there's some areas and not too far from here that are having far worse problems.
Absolutely. And I think that you know, I think from our past mayor, you know, Troy Mary, you know, you picked up the ball and kept it going and that's nice the way it segued right in, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, because that was important to him. The water was very important to him, and then you just carried the torch on.
He believed it. He understood it, and so yes, that's right. We just continued that track, and it all worked out real well. And those, like I said, those things will keep going, and I think we'll be real solid in our utilities.
Right, and that's awesome. And then we get our water from John Hay.
Yeah.
And I seen a comment, and I thought this was really a good comment. I guess something we don't think about. It's one of the cleanest waters around. Is that?
I can't tell you which. It was either DNR or oh, pardon me. Well, it escapes me. Anyways, yes, we had a number of experts and reports and data collected when we were doing this. And I do believe it was DNR, the more I think about it, made the comment that was one of the most clear, most clean, pristine fed lakes. And it has got a series of underwater springs that feed that, as well as the surface collection. But it was somewhere, I don't know, Becky, 15, 17 springs they identified, a large amount.
Right.
It really is fed well. And yes, they had went on about how well that water was just coming straight out of the ground, and how clean it was, pristine.
How wonderful. What a blessing we have that.
Yeah, that's right.
I just think, and then we actually also help out East Washington, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's wonderful.
We
Great neighbors. Good
great neighbors, and let's not forget Town of Pekin.
Town of Pekin, yeah.
So collectively, we're in a partnership with them as well, and so yeah, the end user, there's plus or minus almost 22,000.
Is it 22 now? Oh, wow.
Thereabouts. So
22,001. I just had a new grandbaby. Okay.
Congratulations. That's right. Yes.
So about 22,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So you talk about a large amount of
large.
users. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's awesome. I mean, it's a great relationship, but it's also a big
responsibility.
Big responsibility for sure.
Yeah. And East Washington, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this back up. I've said before, they've been a big help in the facility of the John Hay Lake itself. They were the ones who certainly helped us with the dam extension.
Yeah.
They funded that. They did the research. They had their engineers. We married up in that agreement, and that extension of that dam has worked really well. The amount of new water, if you want to call it that, the increased amount of volume in that lake has really grown, and it's done its job. It's done exactly what it's supposed to.
Right. And that's important to know. And the partnership of them, again, we talked about putting the work into it too. We're helping out everybody working together.
That's right.
And I think that, the boil water advisory is, when you hear one, it's not a panic. I mean, it's one of those things that it's doable, and we've actually had, if you roll back years ago, if you've lived in this community as long, or all your life, we went through a phase, remember, whenever it was hard to get things right. And it was financial. We had a lot of, hardship trying to get things done. And we went through a lot of boil water advisories, remember?
And you had a lot of hurdles.
Yeah.
And you're right. There was a period of time where that was, I don't use the word common, but boy, they were freaking.
It was a lot. Yeah. It was more, I don't want to say a lot, but maybe I shouldn't say a lot, but it was more frequently heard of. And I think we need to focus on what we do have and then what we don't have, maybe, and look at that, we have, this is not something that doesn't happen to a community.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good reminder. It's not it's not the most popular decision, but also we like it too, that it's also just one more reminder how monitored it is.
You bet. That's right. And certainly, very technical. A lot of data comes out, a lot of information, a lot of alarms. So yes, it's tracked very quickly.
Yeah. And remember, it's been years ago, but and to no one's fault, just the fault of needed some new stuff, and we had our water was pretty. It was pretty different tasting.
There's been, you're right, historic events, and you're right, and I'd like to say that's obviously in the past.
Yeah. But, and in no disrespect regard, I'm just going back and it's not funny. It wasn't funny at the time. I'm just thinking that it was so hard because financially trying to figure out how to fix this, because there's nothing done with just a few dollars here. It's a lot. A lot of money done.
A lot of money.
And so I guess those it was a hurdle we had to go over, but we got over that hurdle, and we are very blessed.
Yeah.
And so we did have a little bit of a hiccup, if you want to say that, but we're back on track, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Correct.
And stuff. And so that's good news. And I'm drinking the water and feel good.
Good.
And I'm not glowing. So
well,
maybe a little, from my happiness.
You're thinking of that hammock, I know.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. Yeah. But I do think that that we are very blessed, and I think it's important, and I'm so glad that you do come on and inform our community. It's so good to keep that relationship, and I'm sure that you get out and in different meetings, or when you're out and about in the community, people talk to you, and I know that you're one of those mayors that like that communication.
Absolutely. encourage anybody, if you got a question, please. And I do, I don't shy away. If I'm in the store grabbing a gallon of milk, I definitely willing to chat. I want to. But you're right. We certainly want to keep this is our community. I think that's the takeaway. Is certainly everybody's, and we need to do the best for everybody, and certainly inform everybody and let them know.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's awesome, and I appreciate you coming on, and you're always really good about coming on and explaining things, and I want to give you a big shout out to that because I appreciate that. And when you were being elected, you had said you were going to, and you're a man of your word, and you have, and I appreciate that for sure. So that's wonderful. So let's go back, and so we've talked about the roads, we've talked about some new updates on some of our pipes and our drainage. We talked about the water. Is there anything else? And we talked about the parks being so well taken care of. Is there anything else that we've missed?
Just a couple items. I was thinking last night, what are some new things that maybe some folks don't know about, and I thought about maybe talking about a couple things with emergency services. Yeah, if that's okay.
Absolutely, love that. Yes.
I brag on our city employees as much as I can, and emergency services is another department that they do have thankless jobs sometimes. Police and fire are always ready at a minute's notice, and I know it's hard to see sometimes because if they're on one side of town and a call for a police officer on the other side of town, you can't be all places at all times. But that aside, what they do and how they do it, they do a really good job, and we can't thank them enough. We do have a new graduate from the police academy, and yes, Dylan Moore completed his academy, and so he is now completely certified, and very proud of that officer. And so he is certainly a great addition to our police department. And our police have been asked to do a lot. Circle back to the pandemic. There's things that you sit at home, you don't think about, but there's another layer of just like our healthcare professionals. You put the emergency services folks right out there in the public every day, and so they've had to deal with it too. But anyways, and with our fire department, the council and Board of Works agreed to an equipment upgrade, and so pleased to announce or to relay that we do have possession now an upgraded ladder truck. Yeah. So the current ladder truck is a 1989 model, which in dating itself and in today's world, that seems very old. But fire equipment can be aged and certainly taken care of, but this one is just a little obsolete, and so the truck that we were able to locate and make arrangements on is a not much newer. That's an 89 when we went to a 97, but this 97 is a great upgrade, and so I know the department's excited, and so we were able to do that out of our public safety money, and so that will be new rolling stock.
Awesome. So, well, we are very blessed, and if you ever look at the fire department or the police officer or the EMT, if you ever look at their log, and when we lay our head down on the pillow of the night, they don't stop. Their log the whole night long is going strong, and it's amazing. And I can't say enough. Of course, we did that. We did that. Thank you to our police officers.
Right.
Backing the blue. Remember.
Right.
And how grateful we are of them. And I can't say enough. For what all they do. And then our fire department, what all they do, how wonderful they are. Our EMTs, like you said, first responders, everyone. These are completely selfless, giving folks.
They are, and and I'm guilty of this too, Becky. And that's one thing that we tend to forget is, they don't have holidays.
No.
They don't have spring break. They don't get that luxury search. Pardon me. Yes, their schedule can work around those days, but that department is still working, and they still have to function. And it's very important to remember that. And um, and certainly those ladies and gentlemen, they signed up and they know, but they're also very dedicated to their profession.
Absolutely.
Very dedicated.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's always nice to bring them up and give them a big shout out and recognition because for what they do, and I can't say thank you enough. And you talk about professional, and they are top notch. I would put ours against anybody.
Yes, across the board.
Yeah, wonderful. So congratulations on a new
A new used 1997.
getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, having good equipment and having that, and the fire trucks, because when they're not actually at a fire, they're cleaning their trucks. They have the cleanest trucks in town, right?
Oh, absolutely. They do a great job keeping those maintained, and that's the testament of you don't have to have a brand new one,
Right.
Because they are so well maintained and
Yeah.
certified. It's not just the truck itself. It's the mechanics of the body and the pumps and the hoses, and so it's everything. And so this particular truck is well kept and a great purchase, and certainly the council and board of works agreed. So
Awesome.
We're glad to have it.
Very good. All right. Anything else that we?
One last shout out or one last item. I can't thank the Humane Society enough.
Oh.
I want to just touch on that
Yes.
briefly. They are working diligently towards their new building, and those details are still coming. But they do have a sizable grant that they were awarded. Certainly, yes, big applause. They've done a great job in securing that, and with the help of our employees, the new facility will be big, better, and state of the art. And so again, thank you to the Washington County Humane Society.
And now, when will so it's in the same location? It'll just be a newer building, is that right, or how is that?
Yes, I want to use that growing pains term again. We're going to be some tight quartered department for a while because yes, we're going to have to function out of the older building and move our operations over there for a very temporary setup, then take down, and yes, the new building will go on the current lot. And so then once the new one's up, we get moved in, and then the final old building will come down.
Just reminding everybody too, they do a wonderful job, and I can't say enough. They do a great job trying to rehome, and they try to find rescues. I mean, they do a great job with the pets. But again, this just came the other day. Don't forget, please spay and neuter. And we do have an abundance of of maybe kittens or cats, and so please spay and neuter. And you can't. And we have programs that help that.
Yeah.
And so if anybody needs that, there's assistance on that.
Yeah.
Assistance. So please do that, and it's so much better than trying to find homes for the kittens and cats and the dogs and puppies and everything. So we'll do a Bob Barker spay.
Bob Barker, there you go.
Do you know who I'm talking about now?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I do.
all right. I was gonna say, Justin, are you there with me on that one?
The Bewitched was a little
Much.
stretch,
We
but
gotta watch the reruns. Okay.
I know. But yes, now Price is Right. I'm with you on that.
Okay.
I can do that one.
They always say, this is off subject, but watching a game show is supposed to change your mood because watching people win that money, it
Okay.
brings your mood up. So,
Yeah.
yay.
That's
Yay
true.
for them. You know what I mean? So it's good. So,
Right.
yeah, they say it's supposed to change your, I don't know, psychology 101 here over here. So, what if you get a chance to watch one in your recliner in your leisure day, right? Or your hammock.
Right.
And if you have a TV outside, you're completely spoiled. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
That means, why would you want to leave home?
Why
right?
would you leave? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
why
Got
would you
everything.
leave?
Well, you may have to get the box of cookies.
There you go. That's
Gotta
exactly
leave
right.
occasionally.
Absolutely. Yeah, now you're talking. Well, Mayor, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with me and answering a lot of questions. And hopefully we got everyone informed and keeping people in the know. I think that's the thing that everybody loves, don't you think?
Yeah. And progress. I think,
Oh, yeah,
that's just human nature. We like to see progress.
definitely. And what a beautiful community we have. And we're very, very blessed and very thankful for our community. And of course, driving around, just like you said, and seeing everything and seeing everybody and getting out. We are very blessed to have the landscaping we have, the beautification, and how nice everything is. So, and the facilities that we have, right?
Right, correct.
Very blessed. Thank you, Mayor, for coming in. Keep up the great work and keep our city doing what it's doing.
Thank you. Be back soon.
All right, love that. I want to thank our sponsors again: Walmart, Meadowview Healthcare Center, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Kentuckiana Cat and Cord, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Dr. Black's Eye Associates. Wonderful sponsors. We'll be back tomorrow with a wonderful program for Friday. Have a terrific Thursday. Thank you, Mayor Justin Green.
KCC Dumpster Rental for your cleaning projects is easy with KCC Disposal. If you are a homeowner and you're cleaning out your garage, or you're a business owner and with a cleanup project, a rented dumpster can be the perfect solution. Everything can be tossed into one container, out of sight and out of mind. My dumpsters are rented up to 5 days. Just give KCC